Hi there, I'm Mackenzie, the Spirits Manager at Everything Wine & More, and today we're going to talk tequila. We're going to talk a little bit about how tequila is made, we're going to talk about the three main different types of tequila, and we're going to taste some tequila. So one assumption we're going to make about this video is the tequila we're talking about is 100% Hueva Blue Agave tequila. So there is only a minimum requirement of 51% Hueva Blue Agave to be called tequila, but we've seen a rise in consumers' interest in premium tequila, 100% Hueva Blue Agave. So we actually don't carry any mixo, which is tequila not made from 100% Blue Agave at Everything Wine & More. So we're just going to talk about the 100% stuff. So first off, how tequila is made. Well, it's made from the Hueva Blue Agave, which almost looks like the bottom of a pineapple with a lot of spines on them. And we'll show a picture there to give you a good idea. And the agave plant is in the same family as the lily. It's not a cactus, which is a common misconception. And it takes anywhere from 7 to 8 years for the agave to reach maturity. So it's a long, slow process to make tequila, a lot of waiting. And to make tequila, you first have to chop off the spines of the agave. The humidor does that. And then we're going to take it out of the ground and it's ready for cooking, right? The agave is a very starchy plant, so we need to convert those starches to sugars. And there's predominantly two ways of cooking the agave, either a traditional stone brick oven or a modern autoclave. There's a third method called the diffuser. We don't carry a lot of diffuser tequila at Everything Wine & More, but if you are interested in how the diffuser makes tequila, I do suggest you look it up. So the traditional brick oven is exactly what it sounds like. It's a big stone brick oven. You load the agaves in, and it's a very slow process. So it takes usually at least 30 hours to cook the agave. And then on the other hand, you have the autoclave, which is a long metal cylindrical tube. You can load a lot more agave in it, and you can cook the agave in a fraction of the time, usually about 7 hours. So it's just a lot more of an economical tool, the autoclave. I kind of think of it as the stone brick oven is your slow cooker and the autoclave is your pressure cooker, your instant pot. So they both achieve a very good product, but just in different ways, and people have different preferences whether they like the stone brick or the autoclave. They both produce a very good tequila. Okay, so after the tequila or the agaves have been cooked, they're ready to be mashed up to extract that sugar, the starch that you've converted to sugar. And there's generally two ways of doing that. So either a roller mill, which is kind of like a conveyor belt with rolling drums along the way that mashes up the tequila and mashes up the agave, and extracts that sugary liquid. Or there's the tahona, which is the more traditional method, which is a big stone wooden wheel in the middle of a circular pit. And you have the agaves in the pit and the stone wheel just circulates and crushes them. It's a very slow, time-consuming process, but a lot of tequila enthusiasts believe it produces a better product. Okay, so after the agaves have been crushed and you've extracted the liquid, it's time to ferment. And generally you're going to see either fermentation in stainless steel, cement, or wooden tanks. And all these different processes along the way are going to impart different flavor. It's all about preference. Fermentation's going to last a few days generally, so 4 days approximately. It's all going to depend on the distillery. And after fermentation, it's of course time for distillation. And distillation is going to take place predominantly for these tequilas, at least in front of us, either in a copper pot still or a stainless steel pot still. And when it comes off the still, it's going to look something like that. It's clear, right? So this particular tequila is a Blanco Tequila, the Cascahuin Blanco, and it's straight off the still. It doesn't spend any time in oak. And then next up, we have the Passote Reposado. And for a tequila to be reposado, it needs to spend at least 2 months in oak. And then next up, we have the Tapatio Anejo. And for a tequila to be an añejo, it needs to spend at least 1 year in oak. And after the añejo, I don't have a bottle here. Full disclaimer, these are bottles from my own personal collection. I spent my own money on them because I like these tequilas. I'm not receiving anything. So I don't have an extra añejo because they tend to be a bit more expensive. Now, an extra añejo would be generally darker in color than this añejo, and it spends at least 3 years in oak. So if you're a whiskey drinker, you might like those extra añejos as they have very whiskey-like characteristics of oak, vanillas. Okay, so those are the very basics of tequila. There's so much to learn about tequila. If you have an interest in learning about it, one of my favorite resources is Tequila Matchmaker. It's a great resource for learning about specific tequila and just tequila as a whole. Okay, so very broad overview of tequila. Now let's talk about tasting. Now, tequila has elevated itself to a premium spirit. This isn't something that we're looking to shoot with lime and salt in the bars anymore. These are really nice sipping tequilas. So let's start with the Blanco. So the Blanco is generally going to be your best baseline for what cooked agave smells like. So this particular tequila, the Cascahuin Blanco, has a huge nose of cooked agave. So let's give that a little sniff. And cooked agave can be described as a bit vegetal, earthy, and a bit sweet. But I also get a lot of black pepper, herbs on the Cascahuin Blanco. So this is a bit spicy. This makes a great margarita. If you haven't seen our quintessential cocktail margarita video, I suggest you go over to that after you're done watching this and check out the margarita we made with the Cascahuin Blanco. Really tasty stuff. Okay, now let's take a little tiny sip. Loads of spicy black pepper, citrus. Again, you're going to get some of that cooked agave flavor, and it's also very herbaceous. This is currently one of my favorite Blancos. Great bang for your buck. As of today, April 1st, it sits on our shelves for $66.99. And let's move on to the Reposado. So this particular Reposado from Pasote, it's very pale in color, as you can see. Like even in the glass, it's even paler. There's a bit of color to the glass bottle. So this Reposado spent at least 2 months in oak. I believe it spent a bit longer. And when we take a nose of this guy, we are going to get some of the oak influence, a bit of vanilla, clove, and other baking spices, but the agave aroma is still present. Now, talking about color, it's a good time to note that this tequila, Pasote, along with the Cascahuin and the Tapatio, are free of any sort of additives, any coloring, any sweetener, any additives at all. You can add up to 1% of additives to tequila, still call it tequila, and you don't have to disclose that. So if additives are something you're sensitive to, again, I suggest hopping on that Tequila Matchmaker app, seeing what what tequilas are 100% additive free, and making note of that. And in fact, if you're shopping on our website, everythingwineandmore.ca, I do know which of our tequilas don't have additives, and that's through that Tequila Matchmaker additive free verification program. So let's take a little sip of the Pasote. Certainly some oak on there, but I get a lot of minerality, a prominent black licorice flavor. But again, these tasting notes are all subjective, so you might get something totally different. But you can tell there is some oak influence on there, certainly some vanilla. But that vanilla is all natural because, again, these are 100% additive-free tequilas. Tasty stuff. Okay, moving on to the Tapatio Anejo. So this guy spent at least a year in oak. Wow, very herbaceous. I get some cedar notes. You can still get that cooked agave, but as we spend longer in oak, it is subdued. Some vanilla, again, some baking spice. I get a bit more cinnamon, whereas I got clove on the Passote. Wow, but a predominant cedar aroma. And let's take a small little sip. Wow, very herbaceous. I get some thyme or rosemary and a bit of tropical fruit, maybe some coconut. I think that's coming from the time spent in oak. But that color on that añejo is all natural, and you're not getting a ton of oak influence. There are añejos that have spent longer in oak. If you like a bit more oak on your tequila, and you like the Tapatio Anejo, Villalobos is from the same distillery, and their añejo does spend a bit longer in oak. And that's a good time to mention that our tequila section at Everything Wine & More is organized by distillery. So everything from the distillery which Tapatio is distilled are all together. So Tapatio, Villalobos, El Tesoro, and Tequila Ocho. So multiple brands can be distilled at the same distillery, and how you figure out where your tequila is distilled is there is a little 4-digit number, the NOM, on every bottle. So Tapatio is NOM 1139, and we talk a little bit about that more in our upcoming e-zine, so keep an eye out for that. Anyways, I could sit here all day and nose and taste these tequilas, but for more info on tequila, come see me in store. Check out the Tequila Matchmaker app. I'm not associated with that. I just think it's doing great things for tequila as a whole. Remember to always enjoy your tequila responsibly. So we sip this just like a fine whiskey or a rum. It deserves that same level of respect. And from April 30th to May 5th, all of our tequila and mezcal is 10% off in store and online. So if there's a nice bottle of tequila you're looking for, that's a good opportunity to take advantage of that, whether you're looking for a nice sipping añejo or maybe an exceptional Blanco for your margaritas, or hey, maybe you're a Reposado person. Anyways, we have something for everyone in store, and we're expanding our tequila section. So pretty soon we're gonna have a new shelf. We're gonna have 9 whole shelves of tequila. We have the best tequila section in the entire Edmonton area, and I hope to see you in person sometimes. Anyways, salud.